Hello guys, today's speed paint is these two OCs that I'm making for Art Fight, and if you don't know what Art Fight is, here's a little description of it that they give on the website. If you're interested, you should totally join. Pick fossils if you want to be on my team, pick crystals if you want me to beat you to a bloody pulp. Not really, I'm not a violent guy. My username is Myron, all caps, I'll have it in the description too. Anyway, I wanted to talk about something in my art journey that I'm only recognizing now that I'm a little bit more skilled, and for me to talk about that I need to reference my old art real quick. And it's not going to be the prettiest thing out there, but there's something in it that I do appreciate. I started making art because I wanted to replicate the My Hero Academia style. It had me in a chokehold, man. 2020 was a time. Actually, this was like 2019. Maybe 2018 when I started, but I would strictly just take a still frame from the anime and then copy it in my sketchbook and color it, and I was proud of that. So when I realized, oh, I kind of like this whole drawing thing, I still copied from My Hero Academia, but I was also drawing my own things, and the things that I was drawing were, well, they weren't the prettiest, but I mean, they were kind of creative in a way. I was making characters, doing little satire comics that me and my 6th grade friends would laugh at, and most of all, I was drawing from imagination, which is different than what I do now. I almost strictly draw from reference. But as I was looking through my old sketchbooks one day, I realized that I used to have this sort of soul in my drawings that I don't have anymore. I was drawing things that I made up, that I had wanted to draw, and didn't feel any expectations on me for doing good, because I knew at the time I was kind of a shit artist. I was a beginner artist. I was 11 or 12. You know, there's not really much pressure on you when you're that age to do something good. But now that I'm still not calling myself old, but I'm older. And with that has came skill and practice and this pressure that I can't experiment, because if I experiment, I might do something wrong. I have this pressure on me to always do my best, and sometimes when you experiment, what you produce is nowhere near your best. And that's when I recognized I have a problem that many people don't believe to be a problem, especially if you've been listening to a lot of other artists. And that problem is I use references too much. This is not a thing that is a problem for beginner artists, or especially people who are still learning a lot of the basics. And I wouldn't say that I've completely mastered everything, but I definitely have a better understanding than I did when I was almost strictly drawing from imagination. And because I'm using references so often, I feel like my art looks soulless. And it's not the fact that I'm using references all the time, it's the way that I'm using them. I don't have an idea in my head when I begin drawing. The way that I find inspiration or whatever I'm gonna draw for the day is by looking for the reference first. So I find the reference, and then I'm like, what character would I like to make fan art today? And if that character matches with the reference or whatever, I feel like it's characterized the right way, then I will just draw that character in whatever pose that I found and not have a background or add any artistic liberties and then post it on Instagram and yada yada. And that's just been what I've been doing for over a year now, and I feel stuck. I feel stuck as an artist. Now, if you've seen any of the discourse online about AI art or AI slop, because let's be honest, it's not art, you'll notice a key point that artists lean to when arguing against AI art is it's soulless. It's just a machine producing like this alchemation of whatever art that's gathered online and just kind of connects data points, and then it spits out this aesthetically pleasing piece that took no time or effort or sweat and tears to produce. And it makes me wonder, when thinking about how soulless my art looks, I wonder if I can even consider myself an artist without creativity. I'm not creative. I don't think about these wonderful things in my head or try to create pieces with meaning, because that isn't what I enjoy. I enjoy making fan art. I enjoy taking what's already there in the world and just kind of reiterating it, I suppose. But now that I'm realizing the toll that it's had on my progression as an artist, I feel like I need to get out of my comfort zone a little bit more, which is part of the reason why I'm doing art fight in the first place, because I'm not a person that makes OCs. I've had very few over the course of these almost 7 years that I've been drawing, and it's purely because I'm more invested in the media that I consume than I am the stories in my own head. But part of the reason I feel like my pieces don't have creativity or soul, or that I'm lacking in creativity, is because of this little thing that I have called aphantasia. If you don't know what that is, it's basically the inability to see things in your head. Usually how scientists test if people have this is they ask the person to close their eyes and picture an apple. So I'm gonna ask that you do that right now. Close your eyes. For real, close your eyes. Picture an apple as detailed as you possibly can. And then look at this chart. Wherever you fall on this chart is your level of aphantasia or ability to picture things in your head, whatever word you want to use. But I fall more in the 4 or 5 range because when I try to picture an apple, I can only focus on one feature of the apple at once, and then the rest of it goes blurry. It's all black and white, and it doesn't have much form. I can't even picture my own face in my head accurately. I don't really know what my features look like until I look in a mirror, which is kind of sad if you think about it. And not only does this impact my imagination and what I can put down on paper when not looking at a reference, but it also impacts how I remember things. Duh. But when I'm experiencing like a really emotional moment or fun time with my friends or family, I always think I need to soak up the feelings that I'm having right now because I won't be able to relive this moment. And that's why I take pictures so much, is because I won't be able to look back in my head and be like, oh yes, I remember that day with such vivid recollection. That's just not me. I can't do it. Because of this aphantasia, I'm not able to develop a mental library as other people are, and that makes it difficult to execute an actual idea that I have in my head. It's not like I've never tried to create my own pieces with my own meaning, without any references. It's just every single time I do, it doesn't match up to my other pieces. It looks like I regressed in skill by at least 2 years. My anatomy's wonky, my perspective sucks, everything doesn't look right, and I'm never able to get it to look right just by drawing from my imagination. So I'm limited to what is already out there. 3D models also don't work for me, because the thing about 3D models is I'm still going to have to add a lot of stuff that just isn't there if one of my characters has a trait that's different from the model, because usually it's like this basic Caucasian guy that they use for all the 3D models, and that just doesn't work for a lot of people. Or hair color, any kind of color really, I need a reference for. I'm so bad at coloring when I don't have a reference. I struggle a lot with hue. Grayscale is okay for me, but hue is a big issue that I struggle with. Same with saturation. It's a real weakness of mine, and I'm trying to work on it, but it's not easy. But anyway, I have 2 ways that I'm believing I can overcome this stuck in a muck feeling that I have. One, I could continue to just study ruthlessly. If I look through my current sketchbook, I don't draw a lot traditionally, and honestly, I don't draw enough, period. But most of my sketchbook, and this was like an expensive sketchbook, and I regret using it the way that I have, it's just been pure figure drawings. Because when I feel like I'm in an art block, I immediately go to figure drawings. To me, it's just something that I can do without a lot of thinking or stressing if something looks right, because ultimately you're trying to get something done quick and efficient. It's not going to always look right, so I don't have that pressure. Recently I've been doing more targeted studies like the skull, because I know one of my weak points is faces. I have been doing figure drawings for so long that my anatomy is pretty good. I never thought that I would be at this point, in my art career where I could have this understanding of anatomy that I do, but my faces, not so much. I struggle with faces every single drawing. Drawing faces takes up most of the time that I use on a piece, and that's just inefficient to me. I'm focusing on different traits of a face, just anything that I feel like I don't have a proper mental library of, because bodies I kind of got a hang of, heads not so much. The second way that I can think of overcoming this is just to draw from imagination more. As much as it sucks, it's kind of freeing in a way. especially if I don't feel the need to show anyone what I'm drawing or post it online, which I think is a big problem we have in the art community, but just being able to scribble in the margins like I used to do in high school when I was bored is a kind of freedom that I miss, honestly. And I don't see a lot of those in my sketchbook. I used to draw floating heads and floating eyes all the time with no real purpose. It was just purely to draw for the enjoyment of it. But now it's either I'm practicing or I'm drawing something that I want to post on Instagram, or I'm critiquing old work and seeing what I need to improve on. It's all this methodical effort to improve myself, which is usually what I like to do. I'm a very progress-oriented man, but at some point I feel like I've lost my love for this craft because of it. So I think I need to just allow my brain to wander off to things that have not really been created yet and sink my little artistic fingers into whatever ideas that I have, which is how I sort of created Kairos, which is one of the OCs that is in this speed paint. I'm not sure what order he's in. Maybe he's being drawn right now, I don't know. But I knew that I wanted a vampire OC, and that's how that started. And then I saw, a picture of this guy on Pinterest who had this really cool buzz cut, and it was bleached, and he had a really sharp jawline. God damn. And I was like, yeah, you know what? That's pretty cool. And then I was like, what if he had red hair? And I didn't go off of a theme or a motif, or I didn't create his backstory first, which I know is like a fundamental part of character design. You want your guy to look like, he belongs in the world and the setting and the environment that he grew up in, whatever, yada yada. But I didn't really think about any of that when I was drawing. And all of the clock symbolism stuff that's scattered around is purely because I thought it looked cool. I'm gonna make a meaning out of it, but honest to God, it's bullshitted. And I'm confessing that right now. Whatever I come up with is bullshitted because I drew him first and then I had to create something out of it. So just let it be known. With Brian, he's actually a redesign. He is the only OC that I've ever really kept around. My first drawing of him was something of a nightmare, and all of the drawings after that. But after 3 years, I want to say, I don't remember how long it's been, I decided to resurrect him because I needed OCs on Artfight. The only guy that I had was my old internet persona, and honest to God, he kind of sucks. The only thing cool about him is his white skin, I guess, but I don't think that's really that cool, there's too many of us Caucasians running around anyway. All in all, I hope this art fight pushes me to my max, because I know that I'm gonna have to be taking some artistic liberties, interpreting things in my own way, especially if someone's art style isn't as detailed as mine, and I really want to attack at least 5 people, because I've been doing art fight for 2 years now, and I've only attacked, 3 times? I don't remember how many attacks I've done, but it's kind of pathetic. So I want my 3rd year to really stick out as the time when I got my shit together. I think that's about it. Hopefully you enjoyed this yap, and if you're struggling with the same issues that I am, just know you're not alone. I am suffering with you, and it'll be okay. Maybe you just gotta channel your inner child and sketch in the margins a little bit. Again, maybe I'll post more. I'm not really sure. Not really sure what I want to do with this whole YouTube thing, but if you like my art, follow me on Instagram. If you think art fight interests you, come attack me or be on my team so we win. Whatever you want to do, and I hope you have a good day. I almost had a good day full of waffles because drawing with waffles is on my mind, but I digress. Bye bye.